Ms. Das Gupta for joining us today and sharing that insight. Thank you very much. Now we move on to Africa. Guinea's junta chief Mamady Doumbouya has been declared as the elected president after securing a sweeping majority of the vote. Doumbouya received 86.72% of the first round vote, and the voter turnout was reported at nearly 81%. The election was marked by the exclusion of major opposition leaders and accusations of irregularities, including restricted access for poll observers, alleged ballot stuffing, and pressure on voters. However, the vote followed a constitutional change, allowing junta members to run and extending presidential terms from 5 to 7 years. Doumbouya has promised not to seek the office after seizing power in 2021 coup, but his candidacy was allowed under the new rules. On the other hand, the opposition groups have criticized the election as a charade and called for the restoration of civilian rule. Let's listen in.
Après centralisation, vérification et compilation des résultats provisoires du premier tour du scrutin présidentiel du 22 décembre 2025, agissant dans le strict respect de la légalité, proclame le candidat, M. Mamady Doumbouya, candidat du GM2, ayant recueilli la majorité absolue des suffrages valablement exprimés, est déclaré élu à l'élection présidentielle du 28 décembre 2025 à titre provisoire, sous réserve de la validation de la Cour suprême, seule juridiction compétente pour en connaître définitivement.
Now for this discussion, we welcome Mr. Eric Shiaka. He's a journalist, joins us live from Kigali. Thank you very much, Mr. Shiaka, for joining us. Welcome to NewsX World. Now, looking at this, what more can you tell us about this Guinea's latest elections, and also how does this, allowing junta members to run affect the legitimacy of the electoral process over there?
Well, thank you. So looking at these elections, especially happening, considering that when this junta when the junta took over the administration, they were promising to return the nation to the civilian rule, but it was overturned later on, allowing the incumbent Mamady Doumbouya to run for office. But he's been quite popular, considering that they toppled a government that was unpopular, promising to do reforms that will shape the country, which was at the time being decayed by the Sahel wars and a lot of economic issues. But having again broken the promise of not running, it shows a pattern within the politics, the politics happening in the Western Africa, where military rule take over, promise to give back the administration to the civilian rule, but again breaking that promise and take the power for themselves. So this is nothing new, considering what we've been seeing in countries like Mali and other AS nations. So Doumbouya, yes, expected to win, but of course in an election that most of the opposition leaders were bare to run. So there's nothing new.
Right. And how do you think this, the fact that, opposition leaders, many of them who are not allowed to run, and the control, the strict restrictions over these voters, how do you think this will be impacting the international implications of Doumbouya's role?
So Doumbouya, of course, it was expected, considering that he took power in 2021, and also considering that majority of the big opposition figures either fled or were arrested and were put into jail. So coming to this election was just kind of justifying the military rule that is already ruling Guinea. So the opposition, they are the mercy of the incumbent, they're the mercy of the military, and what was just was a show of democracy, but deep down they know this was already expected. Mamady Doumbouya was expected to win, and now what they have to do is, do they have to keep running with the politics, playing politics with the incumbent, or they reorganize and perhaps call on international observers and international players to help their case?
And will African Union or ECOWAS or any other organization be able to help, with Guinea's Guinea's elections and political stability?
They haven't really, so yeah. So at the moment, there have not been any statement from the African Union yet regarding the Guinea's presidential elections. But what I expect mostly is after the elections, after the final results are announced, which of course Mamady Doumbouya is expected to win the rate of above 80%. So African Union might approve, but it doesn't matter. We have seen it so far. Either African Union or any other regional body organizations, whenever they announce, it's just it doesn't change anything. So either they welcome the results of the election. Even if they don't, it doesn't mean that it will affect anyhow the rule of Mamady Doumbouya as the president of Guinea.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shiaka, for sharing that. Please stay with us as we stay in the region. Now moving on to Congo.